Hey guys, welcome back. So now we're jumping back into Jed MacKay's Strange, with Clea recently stepping into the role of Sorcerer Supreme after the recent death of Dr. Stephen Strange, which effectively makes Clea the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension and the Earth Dimension as well. And with that being the case, we've seen her carry out her title as Sorcerer Supreme here, with a way darker tone of execution than Dr. Stephen Strange. But with her being a Sorcerer Supreme twice over, we also come to find out that there are certain benefits that allow her to do some things that Dr. Stephen Strange couldn't do. And with that said, let's get into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squat up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so when we jump back in, this picks up from after Clea was paid a visit by one of the residents from the Shrouded Bazaar, who had came to the sanctum to let Clea know that the Blasphemy Cartel had came back. And like I mentioned before, with this happening, there's a few things that this does to Clea, because initially she's hurt, because with the Shrouded Bazaar being a location with a number of refugees from other dimensions who have made their way here, Clea believes that these people are her responsibility, which is why she defended them initially. But now for her to only come back and find that the Blasphemy Cartel had returned, killing a ton of people at the Shrouded Bazaar, like we'd seen, this had caused Clea to believe that she needs to send the Blasphemy Cartel a message. And this time around, she's taking the gloves off. But in order for her to do this, she needs to find where they are. And this is what brings her to Richard Fisk, the Rose. And with how this is done, it's like Clea's made her way to the Rose because he's a gangster and he does a lot of shady things, so it's likely he would know about other gangsters and other shady operations in New York. But also we know from the first issue that the Kingpin had tried to overthrow the Shrouded Bazaar, but it didn't work because their magic was just too tricky for him. So it's possible that Clea may have made that connection there, and that's why she started with the Rose, with him being the son of Wilson Fisk and the half-brother of Butch Ferris. But at this point, all we really know is that she went to him first because he's a gangster. But with Clea initially approaching the Rose, as soon as he realizes who she is and how she got past security and just walked into his office, he then asked her the question, "Are my men dead?" And she tells him no, because she turned them all into snakes, of which she just casually holding this whole time. But with her doing this as a show of strength, she tells the Rose that she knows that he knows something about the Blasphemy Cartel, and for that reason, it would be wise for him to share that information. But of course, with the Rose being who he is, he asks Clea what does he get in return for sharing this sensitive information. And Clea just tells him right there, "You get to live, my guy." And she gives the Rose the ultimatum to where if he doesn't want to cooperate, he can just end up like the rest of his men, or Clea could just kill him. Because Clea, she understands how gangsters operate. Because for them, if she can't be touched, then it's likely that the Rose would just find somebody else that she cares about and threaten their life. And for Clea, Stephen Strange was the only person she cared about. And now he's gone. But I do want to say, like, it's kind of funny that she feels zero threats to anything happening to Wong. And not to say that she wouldn't care at all, but in this moment I just can't help take that from the conversation. But with Clea giving the Rose this ultimatum, he's more or less like, okay, I could either snitch, get turned into a snake, or get killed. And for a brief moment we see him think it over, but just right after that, we see that Clea has found exactly where the Blasphemy Cartel is, or at least a group of them that were currently in transit. And the way she just drops in on these guys, yanking them out of the vehicle, swooping from above in a very I am vengeance type of fashion. But with her coming after this group, who again, with the Blasphemy Cartel, they're equipped with plenty tactical and magical solutions. So with this group being attacked by Clea, they quickly open a portal jumping from their current location, which then takes them to a Blasphemy Cartel facility number 24. And with these guys getting here, they're like, woo, that was a close one, but then Clea, she just lands on top of the truck. But also with seeing this, it feels like a bit of a callback to Strange Tales issue 156, where we had seen Clea's mother, Umar, track down the Ancient One, with her showing at the time that she could follow someone, even if they teleported away to another location. And it's here at this point where we see Clea do the same thing, as she lands on top of this truck and tells these guys that they gotta be a little bit more clever than that, if they want to actually get away. But one of these guys lets Clea know that actually they had brought her exactly where they wanted her to be, as she turns around and she sees outside of their facility that there are a ton of these guys locked and loaded, as if they were expecting her arrival. But with Clea seeing this, she more or less tells them like, okay, you guys clearly forgot that the last time we met, your guns did little to nothing. And right then, one of these guys is like, nope, we didn't forget. Under ruse. And it's right here where these guys break out with the Sands of Nisanti, which some of you might be familiar with if you've been keeping up with our current talks on Doctor Strange. But in this case, as we can see, they've used some very questionable methods in order to weaponize its power, because traditionally the Sands of Nisanti are enchanted with a spell that'll prevent anyone from using magic within a short range for a few minutes. 3 minutes to be exact. And with them effectively using this on Clea, they then let off rounds on her with AR-15s that shoot 700 rounds per minute, in doing so with the intention of taking what's left of her to deliver to their science team, who prior to this point have requested a faultine sample, which kind of gives us the idea that these guys really knew that she was coming. And if that's the case, I wonder who told. But when the smoke clears, Clea lets these guys know, like, yes, she is of the faultine, and it is precisely for that reason why the Sands of Nisanti cannot fully depower her. And she lets them know that in this moment, the Sands of Nisanti, they did absorb all the magic in this area, just like they were designed to do. But those sands rely on the spell of the Earth dimension, and it was a spell that was created by an Earth magician. And in this moment, had Clea only been the Sorcerer Supreme of this dimension, then she would have effectively had nothing left. But because she's also Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension, she's able to call on that power instead through the course of this 3-minute window. And with seeing this, I gotta say, I thought the Sands of Nisanti negated all magic. And with Clea being a descendant of beings who were made out of pure magic, for a moment I thought she was gonna disappear for like 3 minutes, I don't know. But as it turns out, we got new information on the Sands of Nisanti. But with this being the case, she then draws power from the Dark Dimension, conjuring the stone prison of Umar, which for Clea is pretty much her just summoning her mother's power and imprisoning all these guys into stone. But from here, she makes her way into the building, into the Blasphemy Cartel's facility, which is codenamed Oathbroken, in order to get an idea of what they've been up to. But when she goes inside, all she sees is a ton of computers on racks, to where from here she then returns to the sanctum and tells Wong, but neither of them know what to make of it at this point. But also when Clea gets back, she gives Wong one of their wards because he had mentioned before that they seem familiar to him. And when Wong sees this, he remembers a portion of a memory, but it's almost like a part of that memory is missing to where he can't fully recall where he remembers this from. But while the two of them are here, they're sent a message which is mainly coming from Umar, who, like we'd seen during the death of Dr. Strange, she had established herself in Antarctica. But really more or less in this moment, she sent Clea a message letting Clea know that Umar is coming to dinner. And not in the nice way to where you just ask someone, but rather Umar sending the message like this is happening. But then just after this, we then head over to the Blasphemy Cartel's headquarters, codenamed Emerald City. And it's here we find that they've just gotten the news that they've lost the Oathbroken site. And with them receiving this news, they then get the instruction from Director Nunn, who gives the Blasphemy Cartel the order to go after Clea, the Sorcerer Supreme, with a demonstration of overwhelming force, where she lives and where it hurts. And with Director Nunn given this order, he also authorizes for them to send one of their Lazarus agents to get this done. And from what we're told, the Lazarus agent that he's speaking of is going to be Randall Spector, the younger brother of Mark Spector, which means we're getting the return of Shadow Knight. But with Director Nunn given this order, he tells the Blasphemy Cartel to make sure that there's nothing left but a smoking crater on Bleecker Street. But even with them saying this, I really feel like the Blasphemy Cartel is in for their worst defeat thus far. Because like we had seen, Clea is expecting company. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if the Blasphemy Cartel runs up on the Sanctum Sanctorum and both Clea and Umar are there, and especially with Umar, who's been said on a number of occasions to be more powerful than her brother Dormammu. But if this lines up the way that it's looking like it's about to line up, then I can't wait to see Umar either turn these dudes into jelly, project their worst fears, or who knows what this time around. Because Clea has even stated before that Umar's full power is beyond her comprehension. But we'll see how this goes, because you know characters often tend to get nerfed these days. But nonetheless, either way, it's gonna end bad for the Blasphemy Cartel, I'm sure. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below so we can go to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.